just want to say it's nice to see you. I'm got to go to the Lauryn Hill concert now. I didn't know she was here. That'd be a toss-up. I love Lauryn Hill. Well, first, I'm just glad to be back in Portland, and I'll get to it at the end of my speech, but I got to say at the very beginning, this ballot measure to get $30 million to do green jobs is the most important ballot measure in the country right now. Give a round of applause to the people who are fighting for clean energy, fighting poverty, fighting pollution, putting folks to work doing good. I love it. I'll talk about more of it later, but that's why I'm here. I love good folk fighting good causes, and I want to come and be supportive. I also like getting a chance to talk. Period. I like getting a chance to talk when I have a microphone, and no Trump supporter to my left or my right. I just like that so much, and it's so rare. And I say that not to put down my fellow Republicans or Trump supporters, but it's just to say so much of what we do in the media, no matter what side you're on, is so tedious and so toxic, and nobody's listening and nobody's learning. And it's really only when we get a chance to be in the real room with each other and rub up against each other, smell each other, get some pheromones going, that we can actually maybe have a shot at sharing our true story. And I just want to share my true story. There's a character on television named Van Jones that I get to play that's always got the answers and has a witty rejoinder and all that kind of stuff, but that's not me. That's not who I really am. I've learned a lot. Breakdowns can become breakthroughs if you use them right. 9 years ago, September 5th, 2009, I left the Obama White House under fire. I turned in my resignation not because I wanted to, but because I had become the center of a global controversy over my young, left-wing, berserkly, radical politics. And it turned out that I was a very useful tool for President Obama in moving forward a green jobs initiative. But I was also a very useful tool for his enemies in trying to paint him as something that he's not and never was. And so 9 years ago, having grown up in the rural South, having been a good nerdy student, having got accepted to Yale Law School and made my parents proud, having graduated from Yale Law School and moved to the Bay Area and worked to help get kids out of jail and into jobs, and having been picked out of the bunch by President Obama to come and help him in the White House, and having felt maybe I was somebody. Maybe I was worth something. Maybe being that little kid that was bullied and made fun of, maybe I'd made good. And I had to take that badge that I used to sit and look at night, that White House badge, and say, I can't believe it. My father had died in March of 2008 before Obama was elected. He died of cancer, which is a terrible way to die. And the last things that would make my father smile was seeing my then 3-year-old son and seeing Barack Obama on TV. And he'd see him, he couldn't talk, but he'd raise his thumb up. So proud of Barack Obama. And I got to go work for him, and my daddy never saw it. And I would sit there and hold that badge at night. Maybe I am worth something. And I had to walk over to that building and turn that badge in. And I'm going to tell you something about this world. It's a tough place. When I was working for the president, I had a BlackBerry. You younger people don't know what that is. It's like a smartphone meets an 8-track tape player. So never mind. It's not important to the story. I had a BlackBerry. And, when you work for the president, your phone is always vibrating. Just, you go out to dinner with your friends, and your phone is, ignore that, guys. What were you saying? I'm sure it's not important. Oh, Jesus. Let me check this thing. Sorry. You know where I work, after all. And then I quit. Perhaps the battery's dead. Let me just... Oh no, 97%. Some people love you, but some people love your position. And when you don't have that position, you lose not just a position, you lose a lot of people. So this time 9 years ago, I was clinically depressed. My brain, it didn't work properly. I was always fast. I couldn't think, couldn't get out of bed, couldn't make decisions. My kids looked at me different. Breakdowns can become breakthroughs if you use them right. I had to really look at myself in the mirror. I realized that I was like a raw Easter egg. And I had painted so much stuff on the outside with all my accomplishments and accolades and degrees and all this sort of stuff. But when the deal went down, splat. And I didn't have enough inner love and inner respect, not referencing all my achievements, to survive that. And it took me a long time to come back. I say that because the lack of honesty about what we're going through is allowing a lot of suffering to continue, a lot of dysfunction in our movements. And I just want to be honest with you, because I can tell you that today, I think I have the best job in television. By the way, all the people who were on TV attacking me are no longer on television. Just not trying to be nasty, but karma is a mug. And I'm not gonna make reference to any particular news station or news outlet, But I will say to you this: if you have a relative whose sole source of news and information, and whose sole perspective on the world, and whose sole understanding of what's happening in politics and current events, if that person's news source is named after a sneaky predatory mammal, you might want to suggest that they diversify their intake of information. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna mention Fox's name, I'm just saying.
You might want to say.
But I can tell you that 9 years later, I like myself more than I did. I do. I like myself more. And it's not because I have a TV show, though I have a TV show. That's kind of awesome, I have to say. It's pretty awesome. It's because I had to do some soul searching. And what I'm proud to say, though this will shock you and offend you, on September 5th of this year, 9 years to the day, I was back in the White House. Ooh. This is as quiet as y'all have been. Even that guy was like, what? Did I nod off? I will say it again, though it will shock and offend you. 9 years to the day, September 5th of this year, last week, I was back in the White House, sitting down with Jared Kushner, sitting down with Ivana, sitting down with Ivanka Trump and others, talking with them and pushing them on prison reform, standing up for the 200,000 federal prisoners who are being brutalized every day, and being taken seriously. I'm proud to tell you, though this will shock and offend you as well, that I got a beautiful email message over the weekend from a former Fox News host telling me how proud and impressed he was about the things I've done with my life since those days. I'm proud to tell you 9 years later that though I was a victim of a nasty, despicable, dishonest, right-wing crusade funded and paid for by Koch Industries, which spent somewhere between $5 and $11 million building a dossier to get me out of the White House, that today I work closely with Koch Industries on prison reform. I fight them on their environmental policy. I fight them on their $1, one vote, disastrous, anti-democratic stuff. But because they're libertarians on prison reform and criminal justice reform, I work with them every day. I say that because if there's anybody in this room that would have a reason never to reach across the line and find common ground with former Fox News people or Koch people, it would be Van Jones. And I'm telling you, and there's certainly somebody with no reason to go back into a building full of people that I loved under Obama and walk down the same halls and sit down in the same chair across from people who I would have done anything to keep out of that building. A former Obama person going into the Trump White House is a heartbreak every time, but I do it. And I say that because we cannot afford to become what we are fighting.